All right. Hello. Welcome back to another Market Open on this beautiful Tuesday morning, June 14th, 2022. The market is being interesting today. We've got a lot of news to cover. Coinbase has officially decided to lay off 18% of its workforce, which is kind of insane. And the reason for that is because of this bad boy right here. This bad boy determines everything. Oh, YouTube, thank you for giving me the notification that Amit is live right now. I appreciate you, YouTube, letting me know that I'm live. It means a lot to me. Look, it's not good. It's not good. It's just not good. And you know, the goal of the Market Open is to kind of give you my assessment of how I feel about what's going on in the market. Now, we're up in the pre-market about 1%, I would say, over. Let's go to SPY. Are we back above 380? I don't think we are. But Bitcoin is the issue in the pre-market. Bitcoin is 22,000, 375, 377. Okay, so we're up about 1%. Now, the thing about Bitcoin that was interesting is last night it went to 20. Let's go to the all-time, or not the all-time lows, but the lows. As you can see, yeah, last night it was at 20,821. So it was $821 away from hitting the 19,000 range, the teens range. And that's when it would have been pretty bad. I mean, let's just look at it over the past week. Here we go, past 5 days. We were at let me do the other range actually, past 3 months. Here we go. Yeah, we were at just a couple of days ago, 31,000. This was on June 6th, June 7th. This was 7 days ago, 31,000. Now we're at 22. So that's why Coinbase is laying off some of their employees. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that when that happens. Let me say hi to the chat. Hello, everybody who's here. Please more in. Harminder, John Stevens, Blake Anderson, Emmanuel. Thank you for being here. Finance Kid. Hi, Amit. What is the UK market FTSE so stable compared to the other markets? I have no idea. Why is the UK market compared to maybe the Brits know how to deal with money better than the people in the States. So yeah, Coinbase is laying off their employees. Let me actually pull up that article right now, and we'll talk more about it. Coinbase. If you just Google it, it'll come up. So we're going to see what happens to their stock. Let's go to their stock in the pre-market, actually. This is a stock that I've been very vocal on not buying because it's very volatile because it moves with crypto. And I'm like, if you believe in crypto, then you buy it. If not, then not. So CEO Brian Armstrong pointed to a possible recession and need to manage costs and growing too quickly during a bull market. So he's acknowledging, look, during the bull market, everyone was really happy and we all kind of did what we wanted to do. But now it's bad. I mean, it's just not a... It's not a time where we can do this. He says, we appear to be entering a recession after a 10-year economic boom. So the CEO of Coinbase, multi-billion-dollar company, says we seem to be opening into a recession. He says that the past crypto winters have resulted in a significant decline in trading activity. Remember, crypto makes money, or Coinbase makes money if there's trading activity. Robinhood, same thing, right? Robinhood does payment for order flow. Coinbase does fees, but they need you to be using the platform in order for them to make money. While it's hard to predict the economy or the markets, we always plan for the worst so we can operate the business through any environment. They initially said it was pausing hiring. 2 weeks later, the crypto giant announced that it was extending the freeze. And earlier this year, they said they plan to add about 2,000 jobs, and now they are cutting jobs. So it is pretty rough. Is it going to be 1/2 or 3/4 of a point tomorrow? That is a very good question. That's the other thing we're going to talk about today is the Fed's rate hike decision is coming up. And ultimately, we've got to know what are they going to do. Now, most people are speculating that, the PPI came out as well, right? Oh, wow. Wholesale prices rose 10.8%. That's not good. Okay, so we'll get into that in a second. Most people are saying, yeah, the Fed is likely to boost interest rates by 3/4 of a point this week. After we saw what happened to the markets, you would say the Fed doesn't have to do this because the markets kind of took care of themselves with all the stuff that's been going on in terms of the collapse. But inflation is still high. So the Fed is not trying to crash the markets because the markets already crashed. They're trying to tackle inflation. So for the long term, in order to get the markets to anywhere be healthy within the next 6-7 months, you need to get rid of inflation or at least lower it significantly. So we might be looking at a 3/4 basis point. To be honest, I mean, I welcome the idea because it's like, at this point, you got to get inflation under control. And it's like, if this is the only real way to destroy demand because nothing else seems to be working, the inventory logic by Cathie Wood probably is not the greatest piece of logic to get rid of inflation right now. Then I think we got to do something. And at the end of the day, that might be this. A recession happens when a bunch of billionaires take profits and don't let the peasants know. It's a good way to put it. Yeah. I mean, the thing about Coinbase that's so interesting, man, is it IPO'd at 250 and the VCs got rich. I mean, the VCs made like there's one VC who invested and made a 3,000x return. Or sorry, 6,000x. He took 300K and turned it into 2 billion. It's a pretty good investment. But it's just like, the people holding the bag were the people that bought into Coinbase's vision versus the guy who came. That's why when it comes to startups, man. By the way, I do have a startup. If anyone's interested in putting some money, is quick plug to myself. Email amit@dailypalantir.com if you're interested. We're closing up our pre-seed round. For those of you who watch consistently, we have been in contact with that VC firm. Still waiting to hear back from them. Hopefully we get them. If we get them, it'll be pretty big. But I don't know, man. Even with them, I'm just like, they have the money, but are they going to be willing to deploy it right now with everything that's going on? So it's just like, it's really hard to raise money right now. But if you have an extra grand or so and you're willing to take a bet on a riskier idea versus the public markets, because, Bitcoin's risky. Compare, like, maybe my startup's safer than Bitcoin. I'm just kidding. Then yeah, definitely email and reach out. But like the point is, VCs got really rich off it. And so if you get in early into a startup, you can make a lot of money because all of the risk that comes associated with being a public company, that's on to institutional investors. There's a lot more risk when you're in the beginning stages of a startup and like it's barely an idea. But if it works, like you can really, really make your money. So like the VCs got rich off Coinbase, made thousands of X's of returns. And Cathie Wood now is holding the bag at 300, 400, whatever she was buying this thing at. If the Fed raises by 0.75, the markets will respond very positively. Yeah, I think so as well. I think they're going to be happy about it as well. Narnton, shout out for you being in the chat. Spotify did a nice acquisition just now. Yeah, I think Spotify's acquisition, we'll talk about them. I should talk about them because I talk about them a bunch. I think the acquisition is cool. The only problem is it's not solving the issue, which I think they need to solve, which is discovery for audio. So Spotify is acquiring Sonatic, the AI voice platform used to simulate Val Kilmer's voice in Top Gun Maverick. You've got to remember as well, Spotify has acquired a lot of audio companies over the past couple years. They've yet to like really show that they're profitable. And again, I know this is their goal. 2030, they said they're going to do $100 billion in revenue. It's like, okay, maybe. So again, to me, this is, I don't think people care too much about this stuff outside of can you get content discovered on the platform. Now, if this happens to do that, then great. It's like when they added the polling feature for podcasts, it's like you can ask your listeners a poll in your podcast. It's like, it's exclusive to the Spotify feature. It's like, okay, but I have no people who are listening. So who's going to answer the poll? Right. So to me, it's always a prerequisite question versus like the fanciest AI machine learning stuff. It's like, can you actually get people to get discovered? But definitely an interesting acquisition. Let's go to their stock price right now as well. Cathie has about 700,000 shares of it now. She hasn't sold for the past couple of days, so maybe she's going to hold on to those 700K shares, or maybe she's waiting to see what goes on. Spotify at $98. All right. Not going to miss the market open today. I'm ready to see the market open. Got my timer ready. For those who are new, shout out to 115 people being here. Really, really appreciate you starting your morning with me. This is a bell. This bell means that when the market is open, I will ring it, just like we're on the NASDAQ. It is our version of doing it. And hopefully when we have like thousands of people watching this live stream one day, they all will wake up to the sound of this very annoying bell. It cost me like $7 on Amazon. It's a pretty sturdy bell. It's not a bad bell. All right. About 10 more seconds, and then the market will be open. Wake your ass up. The market is open. My cousin's sleeping in the other room. She's probably so annoyed. She's like, why is he doing this? Why is he looking at stocks all day? And I'm like, because money is, I don't even know where I'm going with that. I messed up on that. All right, the market's open. Boom, 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 boom. What do we got? Let's go to our favorites. Let's go to Tesla. 655. Okay. Not bad. 655. Boom. I got it on time, too. I rang the bell on time. Okay, cool. Good morning. More cowbell. What's up, Vitaly? Thank you for being in the chat. 653. Palantir, 1.96, 7.80. Not too crazy. Ethereum, 1,200. Yo, Vitaly, are you buying ETH? I know you were big on ETH. Are you and Carlos buying this ETH? Because it's looking pretty attractive at 1,200. You know, everyone on Twitter was like xyz.eth. That's like a trend on Twitter. You like make your name .eth. Yeah, a lot of people got rid of that from their names. A lot of people got rid of that from their names. I'm down a house. Matt Money, my guy. You're Matt Money. Your name is Matt Money, so that house will come back eventually. I know it will. I see you buying all your dividend stocks every day on Twitter, so you're gonna be fine. Twitter's up 2%. Elon Musk will be talking to the employees, by the way. He's having his first hands-on meeting with them. I think this is what's gonna happen. All right, this is what's gonna happen. So Elon Musk is gonna get into the meeting with all the new Twitter employees. He's gonna look at all of them. It's probably gonna be through Zoom or some shit. He's gonna be like, this is his first thing he's gonna say. All of you guys are fucking fired. I'm sorry for the cursing this part. That's exactly what he's saying. Bro, Elon Musk is not tolerating some of the people that are at Twitter, bro. They're getting their ass out of there. He's not dealing with that. Did you see those videos that leaked from Twitter where they were talking about how they basically do nothing all day? Yeah, I don't think Elon's tolerating that, bro. That's what's going to happen. Morning, Theo. Vital, you're going to buy Ethereum at 750 at 500. So you're basically going to wait till it goes to zero. Good strategy. I like it. Spotify up 4% on the day. All right. 102. Not bad. MicroStrategy. So let's look at Michael Saylor. For everyone who don't know, this guy owns this company owns 115,000 Bitcoin. And he recently just tweeted. Now, 21,000 is this when the CFO said there would be a margin call. So he said when MicroStrategy adopted a Bitcoin strategy, it anticipated volatility and structured its balance sheet so that it could continue to hodl through adversity. So their argument is that if the price of Bitcoin falls below 3,500, the company could post some other collateral. So it's kind of conflicting with what the CFO said, which is that if it gets to 21,000, they would entertain a margin call. But I guess that's not the case. I guess we got to see. Elon blowing cash on Amber Heard private jets. That's wild that Elon and Amber Heard were a thing, bro. I didn't keep up with the Amber Heard. Why did people care so much about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing? I don't know why people it was such a big pop culture thing. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't know why it was such a big deal. All of you guys are lazy and entitled. Yeah, I think Elon would say that to the Twin employees. BTW admit, do you and Darnton often discuss the flaws in comparing BTC to gold? What about comparing BTC to something like Pokemon cards? The use case isn't the picture because you can copy pictures. Yeah, well, Pokemon cards is a digital asset. It's like an NFT to me, right? People would buy because it's like some type of asset. Even if it's not digital, it's like this thing that has some type of sentimental value. So the speculative nature of a Pokemon card is what someone is willing to pay for that Pikachu 5 years from now. Or, if the Pikachu is... If Pokemon didn't have the brand and the IP that it had, then the Pokemon card and the Pikachu wouldn't be worth a lot. So Bitcoin, you could say, has the same brand and IP just based on the collective nature of the movement that is associated with decentralization. Now, is there real utility to that decentralization? Yes, there's an argument for that, but I think the far majority of it is also just the brand of it. So you could say they are comparably the same to some extent. Enphase at 180. This is Vitaly stock. He loves this stock. I'm happy I did not buy it at 200. Honestly, looking at it at 200 last week, buying any stocks last week, I was just like, this stuff is absolutely overvalued for what's about to happen. And that's not me predicting anything. That's just me saying inflation is not getting better. This is just absolutely unsustainable. So I think Enphase, I want to get Enphase at around 150. I think I can get there. I've been getting ready to see how I'm loading up my dry powder because I'm ready to, I know I say I'm not buying, but I'm ready to start buying. I have a good 10 grand ready to unleash into the market. I just really want to time it. I want to get in at a good price. I don't want to buy the S&P right now. It doesn't I don't care if you say timing the market. I'm not trying to time a multi-million-dollar position. I have a good 10 grand. I want to get in at a decent price. 370 on the S&P. It doesn't even feel decent, to be honest. Given what's going on, it does not feel decent. 376. It doesn't feel decent to me. I know you should DCA and whatever, and that's the best way to have mental health and peace of mind. But it just, I don't know why the market and let's say the Fed does 75 basis points and the market rallies. So what? So that's what happened last time, and it went away in a couple days. So what? I think this Coinbase thing, we've got to remember the reason this Coinbase thing is happening is because they recognize that it's going to be a while. And it's natural for them. We had a bull market for 10 years. It is natural for us to have the next 3 to 4 years sucking. And to me, I really am starting to see this as an opportunity. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm just going to keep buying and keep buying and keep buying over the next 3-4 years and make a lot of money in the next 5-6 years. But it's going to take time. Don't try to catch a falling knife. Wait for a long consolidation. Exactly. That's the other thing. Like that's really important to do that. Amit, hold me, every investor. Okay, let's talk about I'll go to the comments in a second. Let's talk about the PPI. So the producer price index rose 0.8% over the month and 10.8% over the past year. So it increased about 1% last month. The monthly gain was in line with the estimates. Annual gain was slightly off the 11.5%. The data is significant as that price at the wholesale level feed through the consumer. So that means producer price index, PPI, is a measure of the prices paid to producers of goods and services, right? So CPI is how much are consumers paying. PPI is how much our producers, people that actually make the car, are paying, and not just people who buy the car. Excluding food, energy, and trade, so-called PPI rose 0.5% on the month, slightly below 0.6 estimate. So it was actually a little bit lower, but still an increase from 0.4. Okay, so we thought it would increase 0.6. It came in lower, but it is an increase from what had happened last month, which was 0.4. So it's like, it's not good, but it's not literally horrible, but it's not like literally good either. For wholesale prices, energy made up the majority of the May gains. That makes sense because oil is going crazy. It's at like in New Jersey, they're teasing with us. It's like $4.99 everywhere I go. It's like they're just scared to put the 5 in front of it. I'm just like, bro, just put the 5. Like, get it over. That extra penny, it's not helping anybody. Not in this situation. With gasoline rose 8.4%. That wow, 8.4% month over month. Gas, that's insane. Stock market futures, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I mean, not a horrible report, but not an amazing report either. At the end of the day, Chicken Genius says it's going to crash even more. He might be right. I mean, he's predicting it's going to be really bad, and that's why I'm just like, look, I think it's not just him. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, like a lot of people are like, bro, this is not going to get better anytime soon. So at that point, I'm just like, well, why would I buy then? WT Finance, shout out to you being in the chat. Are you considered about removal of Chinese tariffs on other similar solar tech? That's a good question for Vitaly. I have no idea. Vitaly, if there's a Chinese risk to Enphase, you need to let me know, because you didn't say there's a Chinese risk, so I have no idea, Anthony. We actually got to figure it out. Does anyone know what Amit uses to view stocks? It is called Webull. Download it. It's free. It's Webull. Webull. That's actually an interesting name, right? Webull. Bull market. Webull. It's cool. Meta at 164. So Facebook is starting to get very interesting. I'm going to be interested to see their user numbers. They did $28 billion of ad revenue last quarter. I would like to see what's happening now in the future. Reels, I can say, just from a user experience on Instagram, and please let me know what you guys think in the chat. Reels is getting a lot better in terms of their algorithm and their ability to recommend content. This is one of the things about content startups is like, or just like companies, if you get people to post the content, eventually the algorithm figures it out. Like the hardest thing in the world is to get people to actually post on your website. That's the hardest thing. If you can solve that problem, the algorithm can really figure out a lot of stuff on how to deal with the content. Because then it's just a numbers game. It's like, all right, this person likes dogs. Instagram knows they like dogs. Let's put Instagram Reels in front of them about dogs. Boom. Very simple. And it doesn't kill TikTok either, because TikTok has its own competitive moat and all this stuff. But like, at least the product gets better. Why this is important is because of the advertising rates on Facebook, right? We want to make Facebook become a monster advertiser in Reels. And the thing about Facebook that's interesting is that they're not stopping, but they're not really prioritizing the metaverse stuff anymore. And the reason for that is because they're probably recognizing it's not profitable. And in this market, you gotta hold on to whatever profit you can get. Okay, let's hear this. Bitcoin's decline is bad for the S&P 500. Let's hear this right here.
I wonder, in the years that you've been kind of following markets and seeing cycles, not just here in the U.S., but around the world, emerging markets, developed ones, do you feel as though there's a sense of a bottom building right now, or could things get a lot worse?
I think things could get a lot worse. And the main problem, of course, is the cryptocurrencies. No, this is a very unique situation where billions and billions of dollars have been put into cryptocurrencies. And now it's a tail wagging the dog. As you could see, Bitcoin goes down, the S&P 500 goes down. So it's a very, very unusual situation. And you've got millions, if not billions of people following these cryptocurrencies. So it has a
We're going to talk about Netflix and Roku after this. A new article came out about them.
Big psychological impact.
So that psychological impact is interesting that you bring up, because we've talked about this notion over the past few years, 3 to 4 years, where cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin prices and markets, have been at times either fairly tightly correlated or very loosely correlated to the markets overall. As of late, before the recent sell-off in the last couple of weeks, they were starting to lose a little bit of that correlation, but now they're coming back again. Do you feel as though it's cryptocurrencies that really are driving the action? It doesn't seem like it can reconcile with the way that we look at fundamentals in this market.
I really do. I think there is that correlation. It's really interesting when you see the Bitcoin going down, the S&P gap down. You know, that's an unusual kind of behavior. It didn't just go down gradually; it just gapped.
That's a really good point. As soon as it went down, there was a gap down on the S&P, which signals some correlation, even though, like, there shouldn't be. But like, it's. I mean, the markets don't lie at that point.
That means there was panic in the market. So I think it's a very high correlation.
If there are gaps, like you say, if there are kind of these dislocations that are developing, it doesn't just have to be these cryptocurrencies versus the market. There are gaps happening all over the place. What do you feel as though are the most compelling opportunities, these dislocations that are being created right now? Are there places where investors and traders should be looking for opportunities more so than others?
I think it's time to start looking at China. I know that China has performed very badly recently, but
ooh, this guy says let's talk to China. Alibaba, Neo, interesting. All right, let's hear his argument.
The Chinese government's lowering interest rates, not raising interest rates like they're doing in the U.S., and they're trying to pump up the economy so that it performs better. And we've reached a real bottom in the Chinese market, so that's one place to look, I would say. In addition, the Indian market, because they're very rapidly going through a transformation as a result of technology. So very interesting thing happening there.
Does it bother you?
Interesting. All right. So this guy says China is something we should look into. Let's just go to the price of Alibaba right now. I haven't checked it in a while. 101. Alibaba was at 70 at one point. I remember it ran up 35% one day to 100. Interesting. So his argument is China. Look, I think he's trying to make a sort of just basic core economic argument, which is just like, all right, you know, it sucks in the U.S. Interest rates are rising. There's nowhere to put capital in the U.S. Bitcoin, crypto, everything sucks. So it's like, where else can we go? Well, in China and India, they're raising interest rates. They're trying to stimulate the economy, so there might be an opportunity here. The problem is it's China. And again, this is nothing against China. This is against the government that's a little bit more, how you would say, not nice in China. Bitcoin is $81 away, $74 away, $78 away from reaching 21,000. It got to 20,000 last night, 20,821. Let's see if it repeats that. Gonna be very, very, very interesting. Someone in the comments said, what did they say? They said, Facebook, yes, Quarantined Quartet. So they said that Facebook actually helped us a lot in terms of engagement. Yeah, that's the other thing about Facebook. I mean, I'm getting very excited to I know most of the platforms I use right now are YouTube and Twitter primarily, but Facebook is a hell of a platform to use because at the end of the day, they just have a phenomenal level of reach. And that reach can go really far. Let's look at this one. Netflix talks with Roku. So there is a new article that came out today, the information. Comcast. Oh, this came out May 20th, actually. Oh, I just saw it posted on Twitter. So I want to talk about this, right? Netflix and Roku. Do I see this acquisition happening? The short answer is no. I really don't, because one is an advertising company. And there's a great clip on CNBC by some guy who's been analyzing media for like 30 years. He was just like, this is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life. He was like, this is not, Netflix is a media company. Roku is a platform. It's an advertising business. By the way, Roku's at $73 right now. Bitcoin, $5 away from hitting 21,000. So as a result of that, you know, Netflix is a media company doesn't fit well with them acquiring a true tech company because there's just not any real synergy there. Netflix below 170. Wow. Is this the lowest it's gone? Yeah, this is the lowest. We haven't hit 167. 162 was the lowest. So as a result of that, that's not going to happen. But what will happen potentially is if Netflix introduces this advertising tier, which is most likely going to happen, what company is going to actually be able to help them in that advertising sphere, like be profitable with ads in a meaningful way? Probably Roku, right? Roku has the technology. Now they just have to integrate it with their user base, which actually makes a lot of sense. Quarantine Quartet says, yeah, we need to crack into YouTube, but it's not working well. We need to add strongman through to our thumbnails. I love it. I love it. Well, Quarantine Quartet, well, you guys are doing shorts as well. Or I see a lot of shorts on your channel, and shorts is a different animal, because they can be either like, I know a channel that shorts goes like ridiculous for them. They do like hundreds of millions of views, and then there's other channels where shorts don't trend. Because for shorts to be really effective, like on YouTube, you have to click on shorts, right? Because then you can get the vertical scroll. That's why TikTok is really effective at giving anybody discovery. But on YouTube, you have title, thumbnail, and I think that's still the primary form of discovery. And so title, thumbnail is a little bit harder at the end of the day to get down. I know this from experience. Oh, by the way, Tesla. We'll talk about Tesla in a second. To create a good title and thumbnail to get someone to click on, it's hard, man. It's really hard. Because at the end of the day, you're competing with like an infinite doom scroll that people are going through. And you're trying to get them to just stop and look at your piece of content and then actually click on it and be engaged with it. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. So it's you know, it's definitely in the content game. It's difficult, but I mean, it takes time to figure it out, but it's possible. Facebook's just so much easier because or Instagram, you just post the picture and people see it immediately, right? They don't have to decide to click on it. But that's why YouTube pays the most, because if you get people to click, then you can get them, keep their attention. You can make money. Tesla's at 640. That's insane. QQQ down below 280, 275. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, ARK. ARK is at 36. We're going to go into ARK Innovation. We're going to look at their latest, or their funds. Zoom is still number 1 for ARK, but I want to see what else they've got going on in the top 10. Let's go to Zoom, by the way. What's Zoom doing? Zoom. Zoom, $105. Cathie is betting on $105. Yeah, shorts don't count as public view hours, so we can't monetize. Yeah, that's the other problem about shorts. That's the other problem. Every time I actually click on shorts, I want to blind. Yeah, I mean, I do like using TikTok. I go on it for probably 10 minutes at the end of the day before I go to sleep. I watch a couple TikToks. And you know, it's a decent experience, but shorts on YouTube, it sucks. Like, I don't know what you guys think, but like that tab I never click on that tab. Cause I'm like, why would I'm not on YouTube to watch like silly little shorts. I want like actual hardcore analysis from my videos. Like TikTok is that platform where you like discover like new stuff, and like that's the culture of it. Like if TikTok had long form thumbnail titles, bro, it would die, and like no one's there on TikTok to do that. But YouTube has developed this infrastructure of people actually coming to like click on long form content, which is more profitable than anything. But the shorts thing is like doesn't do that well at that point. So who's buying Tesla? Tesla. I remember, I mean, I want to show this tweet again when we go to the ARK Innovation in a second, from Dave Lee. And Tesla's going to take a major impairment charge on their crypto losses. Right here, right? So Bitcoin at 25K, Tesla takes a $200 million loss. If it drops to 20K, they take a $400 million impairment loss. They own 42,000 Bitcoins at an average cost of 30,000. So it's not the best. Tesla's in a little bit of a pickle. So next earnings with the Shanghai stuff is not going to be that great, which is why I'm not buying Tesla, but I'm getting excited for it, because one of the things about Tesla that's important to understand, let's look at their max chart, is I saw someone tweet this yesterday. Okay, now I don't agree with the tweet, but I want to bring it up. They said, looking at Tesla's chart, right? All of this is 2020, 2021. They're saying, looking at Tesla's chart, the quote was, it is a pandemic stock that hasn't crashed yet. Every pandemic stock has crashed. Zoom, Roku, Coinbase, all of them, they went all the way up, even Spotify, right? 380, and it came crashing down. Tesla's one of those stocks that hasn't done that yet, because Tesla at 1,200, you can say 1,200 to 600 is a come down, but it's not really, because 1,200 was insane. I mean, I think any average Tesla investor will tell you 1,200. When was 1,200? November 30, 2021. It was just insane. Every stock was at all-time highs in November 2021. So if that's the case, there might be a lot more to go if you agree with the thesis that it's a pandemic stock that doesn't recover. Now, their growth rate has been absolutely phenomenal, right? They've proved to live up to the hype. I mean, this is just the reality of it. Tesla's a $3,000 stock right now because it's a 5-for-1 split, right? So they've really proved it. But the question is, if they do theoretically come down as the pandemic weighs through it, quantitative tightening gets harder as interest rates go up. I mean, that's the question that we're going to see when it comes to Tesla. Tesla won't hit EPS and stock will tank. Yeah, I think that's also going to happen. You guys say the YouTube algo is broken? Wow. I thought my YouTube algorithm is pretty decent. But see, that just brings up the idea for the fact that if there is a content startup or a content company that has a semi-good algorithm that's not as mainstream as some of the stuff that exists today, that startup, that company could do really well, right? Because people are dying for it. The one thing I realized is like, and this goes back to like the Facebook argument or the Netflix argument at Google. We are all dying for new content. It's actually it's sad how much we all need new content. Like people like 200 years ago, if they got one good book a year, they would be happy. And they'd read that book like 1,000 times. We need like a new piece of content. And we need a new tweet, a new Instagram post, a new TikTok. We need this every single second or else we're going to get bored. And that offers a huge opportunity for content creators. But goodness, it's like we just need more content constantly. Tesla can't stop until $200 a share. Huh? That's interesting. $200 a share would make it a $1,000 stock. $200 a share would be the death of like Tesla YouTube content. Not the death as in people will stop making content, but all of the people that got kind of like people look up to, like Dave Lee, Rob Meyer, Stephen Mark Ryan, I think there would be a lot of negative backlash. And it's not really their fault, right? Like they cover Tesla because they're Tesla journalists. They have to deal with it whether it goes up or down. But a lot of the Tesla financial community on YouTube, I think, would be very upset if Tesla drops like $200 a share or something. Like that would not, they would be pretty upset about that. Granted, it's irrational because like if it happens, it happens, but we got to see. Anyone is still pissed off about the removal of the dislike counter? Yeah, can anyone put that in the chat? Are you guys pissed off that you can't see the dislikes? You can still dislike a video. By the way, if everyone could like the video right now, that would be super helpful. It helps a lot. But the dislike button itself, you can't see the number of public dislikes. Personally, I think it's not the worst thing in the world because if a video has a lot of dislikes, YouTube just won't recommend it to you, right? That's the goal of it. So they'll just be like, all right, we're just not going to recommend it. But and so like the algorithm should benefit, but as a user, you can't see the public dismay on a video, which I guess is decent at combating negativity. Because if you go on a video with just like 1 million dislikes, like everyone, mob mentality, everyone in the comments just like they pile on and like it doesn't go the best. But granted, it takes away from like the organic nature of content creation, which is user generated content. We should know if people like it or dislike it. TikTok was smart. They got rid of that dislike. They didn't even have a dislike button. They're like, yeah, we're not going to include that. If you don't like it, just scroll forward. So interesting to see what you people say that. Yeah, I dislike your videos every day, but it doesn't show. Jay Schwat 93. Thank you. I appreciate that. I scroll on Netflix more than I watch stuff. Yeah, Netflix's algorithm sucks. I wish I shorted Netflix when I made so many videos in January saying Netflix is just sucks, and I should have shorted it, but I was scared to short. But like it was so obvious. Like there was no way there's no way. Granted, you should have shorted the whole market, but like Netflix in particular, that was the one stock I had a thesis on that kind of just sucks. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Okay, we'll go. Pandora is a very good music algo, I hear, but Spotify's marketing kind of stomped them. There's a decent group of people that actually use Pandora. Believe it or not, I didn't know that. Snowflake, let's go to Snowflake. Palantir competitor, all-time low, $111. Still trading at a decent price to earnings. Where is there? Yeah, 27 times price to sales. Still, Snowflake is trading at. Warren Buffett made $1 billion off this and got out of it. Because he was like, yeah, this is not sustainable. I mean, buying Snowflake at 253. That's the crazy thing about the bull market. You can like people bought Spotify at 380 thinking like, oh, it's normal, right? Or bought Palantir at 45 and they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's like that. It's so wild when a bull market happens because the FOMO of not buying and missing it is so intense, And Snowflake at 340, people were buying and all. It's like now it's at 112. And it's like the company, the metrics on Snowflake are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the metrics are great. Snowflake is growing, like they have over 4,600 customers, growing 120% year over year. It's a great business. It's just a very frothy valuation at the end of the day. Netflix's UI is better than anyone else. How do you load the end of the video without showing an episode list first? It's shocking how bad a lot of streaming. Yeah, it is. That's a great point. It is shocking how bad streaming platforms and their UI is. Like even HBO Max, it's like not amazing. They all copy Netflix at the end of the day, but you know, it's not that amazing. What do you think about penny stocks? It depends on the penny stock you're getting in. In general, I would avoid them because if the good stocks aren't doing good right now, the penny stocks are not going to do good either right now. All right, Zoom is number 1, 7 million shares. Tesla, about 1 million. Roku, 7 million. CRISPR, I need to go more deep into. It's number 4 now in the position. What's the stock on CRISPR's at $54. Their max, they were at 220. 220. This was January 2021, 54. So she's betting hard on the therapeutics play. I know nothing about CRISPR. I've heard good things, but I know nothing. That's interesting. She's betting on a therapeutics play as the number 4 position. One positive thing about Disney Plus and Netflix have is family and friends say this: I can't cancel my subscription because the kids would riot. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can't cancel Netflix because my dad probably would. But to be honest, though, my dad, he got this like Indian box. If you're Indian, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. There's this like box you get from a guy who knows a guy. Everyone knows what it's called. And like he plugged it into our TV, and now he watches all of his TV there. So like if we cancel Netflix, I don't think anyone would really miss it. That's the thing. That's the litmus test for me. Do you miss the platform? HBO wouldn't miss at all. Disney Plus, I personally wouldn't miss at all. I don't have kids yet, but I know my kids, if I ever have kids, they would probably want it. Netflix, I really wouldn't miss it at all. I mean, at all. I've been rewatching Breaking Bad a little bit with my cousin, so maybe that's where I would miss it, but outside of that, it wouldn't be too much. YouTube, I would miss. I know you guys would miss me too on YouTube. You know, it's okay. You guys can leave it in the comments. It's totally fine. Coinbase, she has 5 million shares. Coinbase, 5 million of these shares. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. It's wild, man. I don't even want to like dump on ARK when they're down or anything. I'm in no position to say that, but like it's just rough, bro. It's just rough. It's just bad timing at the end. I mean, she might be super right on Bitcoin and Coinbase and Roku. It's just the timing is like it's rough for these stocks. It's really rough. Bitcoin, this is the 5-year chart. Last time it was at 22,000 where it's at right now. We were in July 4th, July 20th, 2021. That's when we were around 20,000, July 2021. So that's where we're at right now. Who owns more Palantir right now? Oh, by the way, let's go to my Twitter. So my dad bought some Palantir yesterday. I didn't buy it because I have enough Palantir. By the way, if no one's following me on Twitter, oh, you guys like my new profile picture? @AmitIsInvesting. Yo, you guys have got to see this. All right, so we were on Money Talks the other day, right? Or yesterday. And people said there was a certain 10 seconds where I was staring into people's soul. Yo, this is the funniest thing ever. All right, I got to show you guys this. All right, here it is. You guys ready? Let me put it up. This was like a 10 second. Someone just commented like, why isn't it looking into my soul right now? And I was like, yo, it's true.
And make it way more economically viable.
Just look at my face.
To have ESG without laughing in your face because there was government subsidies. Now, government subsidies do a lot for ESG. I mean, they
Bro, I was just dead staring. Like, well, the thing is, I'm looking into the camera, right? And I don't want to look down on the screen because, like, it's a show. People are watching all three of us, so I don't want to be looking into my screen because then they'll see I'm not looking at the camera. But sometimes I get into a zone, and people were like, "What were you thinking about?" Yo, the replies were hilarious on this, bro. The replies were phenomenal. They were like, look, so Everclear said, can't tell if you were tuned in or tuned out. Don't worry, it happens to all the greats. Someone said, thinking about your future when Palantir is at 100 and Audia, that's the name of my startup, is getting ready to go public. And I was like, yeah, basically. Well, were you doing that one on purpose or just daydreaming about girls, daydreaming about my goals? That's it. And someone said, that's about all you're useful for when it comes to stock reporting. I said, thank you. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's kind of like, the coolest thing about Money Talks, bro, is I don't have to do shit. I just have to get up and like have a good intro, have a good segue. And I mean, there is a lot of planning. I'm not going to like, we do have like a 30-minute phone call before the show. There's a lot of planning, all this stuff. Like there is a lot of work that goes into it, but I don't have to be responsible for a take. And I know what it feels like to be responsible because I did a bunch of podcasts and all this. So it's like, I know what it feels like to actually craft an opinion and a narrative. It's like, shout out to Tom and Justin. Like, it's not that easy, bro. Like, you got to really think of that stuff and sound cohesive and sensible, or else you're just going to sound like an idiot. All I have to do is stare into the souls of the audience. That's it. That's all I have to do. So that was funny. So I made that my profile picture. So if you're not following me on Twitter, @AmitIsInvesting. If you don't have a Twitter, make a Twitter. Follow me because it'll be fun. Oh, by the way, here's this meme. When you finally make it to middle class, but inflation gets so high it makes you lower class again. That's what's happening in the market. Now, I did this tweet about my dad, right? So I said by the way, it was my dad's birthday last night. So we were in the car and he said he said, "Hey, I bought more Palantir today." He doesn't know what Palantir does. He just knows that I talk about it a lot. And he was like, "Oh, $7, it's cheap." So he started buying a lot more of it. So I own about 2,100 shares of Palantir. He owns, I think, like 100 shares right now. But hopefully Palantir becomes our FANG in 10 years and he can really do well off the stock. We'll see. Someone says you got to change your startup name. Not really. So it's Audia.io. So it's not really Audia itself. So we can kind of do it in a different way. Why don't they tag your channel in the description? They should. They might have forgot the past couple of days. My channel has been in the description over the past 2 weeks, actually. Maybe they forgot yesterday. But it should be in the description. Granted, I don't think it actually leads to that many more subscribers, to be honest. Like, people, I don't know how many times you guys check the description and actually like do stuff based off of it. I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I think when the show starts hitting like a really big audience, like 50, 60,000 people a day, that's when we'll see like a real uptick. But until then, not. You make the show entertaining, bro. I appreciate that. It means a lot. What do you think of Money Talks moving to a new channel? Good or bad for Sense Invest? So the reason we're doing that, by the way, let me see if the newest show is out. I think what we'll do on these market opens, guys, the last 10 minutes will just be like pure discussion and talk because I have nothing else to really say about the market. We pretty much talked about everything. We talked about Coinbase. We looked at how things are going. Bitcoin's recovering decently at 22,395, so it's staying solid there. Market in general is green today. Nothing too crazy, even if it's just up 1%. It's going to be pretty much flat. It seems like the whole day unless something crazy happens. I mean, the Fed interest rates stuff might spook the market a little bit, but I think they're baking in 75, so we'll see. So I think last 10 minutes of market open, we'll just do basic discussions and talks. And yeah, just if anyone wants to say, we'll talk, put stuff in the comments, I'll respond to it. But from 9:20 to 10, it's more so like market open. And then from 10 to probably 10:15, we'll just do like talking. So the reason we're moving to a new channel, which you guys should subscribe to, is because of the algorithm, the almighty algorithm. So for anyone who wants some content stuff, we'll talk about that now. The reason we're doing that is because when you have a new, so here it is, 2.7 thousand subs. When you have a new channel, what it does is it fuels the algorithm to actually care about the people who care about that channel, right? So when you have so for example, when I start my startup and we're going to start making a lot of content, there's a lot of videos about my startup that I'm not going to put on this channel because it's just not built for this channel. There are so many other pieces of content on this channel that aren't going to not even do well. It just wouldn't make sense. Like the people who subscribed wouldn't care for it. So you have to make a new channel. So Justin built that Sense Invest channel off of like TikTok in 2020 and he kind of went viral. And so those people that subscribed really care about like hardcore DCFs and analyses and stuff like that. They weren't really looking for a financial entertainment show, but it ended up like picking up a decent audience. So the goal is if that channel has 100,000 subscribers and the videos are only doing like 15,000 views, that means there's a disconnect between like 85,000 people that don't care about that content. So the idea is if you bring up a new channel for the long-term health of the show, even if in the short term the views decline, the growth of the channel can the algorithm will be able to recommend the show to the exact people that the algorithm knows will like the show, which it can't really do with Sense Invest because it has all this data from the previous videos before Money Talks that is kind of clogging up the algorithm. So that's kind of the logic behind it here. And if it does that, then that means the growth of the show should be even better than it is. Like it should just hit better demographics and be able to actually find an audience in a much easier way. And like the beautiful thing about YouTube is like you can actually work within an algorithm and post your stuff and the algorithm will actually try to find other people that care about your content. Like it's actually amazing. But like you've got to really work within it in order for that to happen. You definitely boosted that show. I appreciate it. I think people definitely I think people do like the show a lot more than they liked it before. But the good thing is I just don't have to have a take every day. So it's just, that's it. Alex Diaz, yes, it is hella annoying. What is hella annoying? I forgot what I said. That was annoying. I think you're agreeing with me, but I forgot what I said. A mid startup should be called Face Look. Yeah, I should make a new face look startup. Blah 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 blah. I believe your channel will grow once we go back into a bull market. All the other influences boosted. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like that's the hard part about YouTube, man. It's like if you're in the stocks and finance, the content I'm about to start making for my startup is starting in July. That content is more evergreen. Like you can still win on YouTube if you're making content that the masses care about. And like there's different types of content so like you, Quarantine Quartet, you're a good example. Music is there. Ryan, you just I don't know if you just joined. We talking about the market. We are not talking about the market anymore because the market open is over. The last 10 minutes we're just talking about, basic regular stuff. Kind of like ask me any questions, anything like that. The thesis of the market open was that it's flat, maybe dead cat bounce if we get a little bit of green, but outside of that, nothing else. So Quarantine Quartet, you do music, right? So music is really interesting because like music appeals to anybody. Anyone can come across your videos and they could like instantly love it. So the algorithm could theoretically recommend it to millions and billions of people. But with stocks and finance, it's just hard. There's a hard cap on how many people are going to click on a Palantir video or a Coinbase video, right? So especially if there's not a bull market and there's not like people really caring about this stuff, it's just like, even in a bear market, you can do great content, but it can't be content around stocks that's going to do great because the algorithm just doesn't care about it. Most people in the world doesn't care about it. So that's the kind of issue. Gotcha. First time watcher. Yep. Thank you for being here, Ryan. Appreciate it. Amit, are we blessed to be following the market during a bear run philosophically? Yes, I agree. I mean, I think so because I don't know how many people were around in 2008. 2020 was not a bear market. It was a bear market for 2 days, and then it went to the biggest bull market of all time. So I think this is actually, I was thinking about it today. I was on a walk this morning. I was like, yo, this is a great opportunity, man. Like I don't care if the market is bad for the next 4 or 5 years. We get to cover a bear market. We get to deal with it. And like, imagine getting Google at $1,500 or like, imagine getting Amazon at like 78. Like if it gets really bad, it's gonna like, no, if you have dry powder, it's a blessing. Because it will come back. Like the stock market will come back. Even if it takes 5, 6, 7 years to come back, there is so much money to be made on the outside. And if you're going to live for the next 5, 6, 7 years, this is about being on the offense and on the and there's no choice. Like you have to be on the offense in this situation. Like why would you be on the defense? You have to see the situation, see how you can attack it, figure out a strategy, and then keep going forward from there. That's it. But then why is Meet Kevin successful? Well, Meet Kevin is interesting, right? Number one, the reason Meet Kevin is successful is because he pumps out a crap ton of videos, which I'm trying to get to as well. But the other reason you have to remember is Meet Kevin, the majority of his subscribers he got through the COVID stuff. He was at like 175,000, and then he pumped out like 15,000 COVID videos a day, and that's how he grew to about 1.5 million. So a lot of those people that subscribe, the reason Meet Kevin gets like 20,000 views a video, even though he has 1.8 million subscribers, is because most of that 1.8 subscribed for two things: Tesla during their bull run and COVID when he was giving all the updates, which is great. I think that's the way to play the game, right? When something's trending, you really go all in on it. You build a subscriber base, and then hopefully a significant amount of them will stay for the actual other topics that you want to talk about, which Meet Kevin worked his ass off to be able to get that audience to stay. But at the end of the day, the bull run, the COVID stuff needed to happen for him to even have a chance for YouTube to recommend him. Like I was watching Meet Kevin before COVID, by the way. Like I knew Meet Kevin for a long time. I was watching his real estate content, the Grant Cardone stuff. Like I knew Meet Kevin for a while. The first time he blew up was the Grant Cardone stuff. He made an expose video on Grant Cardone. For those who don't know him, he's like a real estate mogul. And he basically went super antagonistic against him. That video got like 400,000 views and that blew him up. Before that, he was getting like 15 to 17,000 views or whatever. So that was big for Meet Kevin. And then till then, he was pretty flat. I mean, for the next 3-4 years, I mean, he wasn't going anywhere. And then COVID happened and he turned into just like the brand of financial advice for COVID and PPE loans and all that stuff. And that's when he developed an audience. So you kind of need some macro level event, and you need to hop on that macro level event if you're not going to create the most original content for the algorithm to recommend in order for you to really be pushed to the masses. And so Meet Kevin was able to do that. Meet Kevin sells courses for 2K a pop. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth 2K, but if you think it's worth it, then I guess buy it. Big fan of it. Agree, it's a great time. We almost focus on building cash flow and dry powder to deploy. Thank you, Ashley Rudland, for being in the chat. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, like, I really think it's about building dry powder. And I don't think it's about putting in the market right now, even if you're dollar cost averaging, fine. But I think there's a lot more pain left. And I think, if you've got a good 25K saved up over the next 6 months that you can deploy, let's say you pick 5 stocks, put 5K each, that could turn out really well in the next 3-4 years. And then you just continue to buy. Just like if you're buying the companies that are going to be around for a long time or the S&P, there should be zero worry. This really is a blessing to get into these at these amazing prices. And you got to recognize it's natural. We had a bull market for 10 years. In the worst pandemic of all time, the Fed saved us and we had another bull market. So this is really natural. At the end of the day, this stuff is like, we can't fight this stuff. Like, we just can't fight this. It's natural for it to come back down. I watch Meet Kevin. For me, I just love his quick updates on catalysts that are occurring. Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it. Watching this crypto crash is more entertaining than the Maverick flick and the Last Stranger thing. Yo, I'm not going to lie. Now, if you have crypto, it's not as entertaining. It's sad. But, cool. I think that's pretty much it. Someone says, do you ever regret branding yourself as a Palantir shale? No, I will be a Palantir shale forever. I love Palantir. By the way, dailypalantir.com. For those who have not subscribed, definitely check it out. It is my blog talking about all things Palantir. Going to be uploading it with a bunch of articles today. Thank you all for spending your morning with me. I like this at the end of the market stream. So 9:20 to 10, we do market. 10 to 10:15, 10 to 10:10. We kind of just talk about, ask me anything, questions, basic stuff to talk about, and do a little bit of questions. If anyone's interested in investing in a startup, email amit@dailypalantir.com. We're still raising our pre-seed round. I will let you guys know as soon as I know from the venture capital firm that I'm in discussions with if they're going to invest or not. I think they will. I have faith. I have hope. But closing deals are hard, man. It's basically what my life is, to give you guys a little bit of into my life right now. I'm living in a constant state of anxiety because I have to close a bunch of deals from other investors that are ready to close, but I need a set valuation for the company. And I'm in talks with this VC firm that has not given me the set valuation for the company because they haven't responded of if they're going to do the deal or not. So I need to get these deals done. There's a lot of paperwork to be submitted for that. But everything changes if I get this VC firm, because if they come in, it just changes a lot of stuff, right? The dynamics of everything changes. And so, and they haven't responded to me, so we had our meeting about a week and a half ago. So they haven't reached back out. I haven't emailed them to follow up yet. They haven't reached back out. Probably will be emailing them soon, but I'm living in a constant state of anxiety because I just don't know what's going on. And one of the things that's similar is to what people are dealing with in the market right now, which is you just don't know if it's going to go up or down, right? You might have a lot of money betting on something, and if you don't have conviction on it, then it really sucks because the anxiety gets worse. But at least for me in startup world, it's big anxiety because you just don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they come in and everything changes, or maybe they're like, hey, yeah, we thought about it. We don't want to come in. And it does produce a lot of anxiety as you're dealing with this stuff. So ultimately, we will see what happens. I don't think the VC will say yes. Money space is scared money right now. Well, so that's the logical argument. The problem is it's not a ton of money for them. This is a VC firm that they're not putting in 100. For everyone who says VC money is drying up, it's really drying up for growth stage startups, not pre-seed stage. A couple 100,000 VCs can give that without blinking. But if you're talking about 10, 20 million, then it really gets into a question of just all right, let's really make this decision. So I don't know. I mean, I met with that VC in person for an hour. He basically said, we'll finish the round. I mean, he literally said, he was like, yeah, we can finish the round. The more you have left, the better for us to take for our equity position. So that meeting went so good. We had the second meeting. Second meeting, I think, went pretty well. So now we got to see. I mean, maybe they do the deal, maybe they don't, but we'll end up seeing. I know how you feel, Amit. It's like me waiting for a job to get back to me while I'm applying to other jobs. Yeah, it's just that's how it is. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will let you guys know any updates that happen in my life. I will be back 9:20 tomorrow morning. Hope everyone stays good. There's a lot of other stuff doing outside of just staring at the market all day. So hope you can do that. By the way, Palantir developers just released a new video. I just got a notification. Palantir developers, they're premiering a video right now building a ticket framework inside of Foundry. Okay, probably we'll be able to cover that as well. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys on the next one tomorrow. Bye-bye.